We have with us today a very, very special yogi. We have Gail Grossman, and she has come to us with her restorative yoga class.
Restorative yoga is a practice that is done using a lot of props. You use blankets and bolsters and blocks. Although I couldn't travel with all that today, I at least brought the bolsters, which to me I think are the best part because they're like big pillows and you get to lie on them in certain yoga positions. And the idea is that you stay in those poses being supported, and you get the same benefits from being in the restorative postures for a while as you do doing other more vigorous types of yoga. The poses are broken down into 4 different categories, and it's the same with any regular yoga class. Basically the poses are back bends, forward bends, twists, and inversions. And it's the same for us. It's like we don't always have to push hard to make something happen. Sometimes you just have to kind of let go and let it be. So somebody has a heart condition, or somebody has high blood pressure, or if they have migraine headaches, or you can really fine-tune it and do different things to help people. So it's very therapeutic. But restorative yoga just sort of, it just felt like something that I felt like people needed. I just felt like everybody's pushing themselves all the time, and so it really appealed to me.
We know how that is, right?
And the interesting thing is that the yoga studio that I originally practiced at when I first started practicing yoga always had a restorative class for people with cancer. And I thought that was really great, and I thought it was really commendable that they offered that, and it was great, but nobody else felt like they could be part of that class. And I was like, well, what about that restorative for everybody else?
I love this form of yoga because this is one of the places that I find is difficult for even me to balance. Finding the time to just say, hey, I'm going to stop.
Eventually you start to see like space between your thoughts, and it isn't just, you can really learn how to be like a fly on the wall and just see like, okay, I'm having these thoughts, but I don't have to be the thoughts, and that makes a big difference. It's one of the most challenging. I mean, it may not be the most physically challenging, but it is most definitely challenging for the other part of the practice. It is a good metaphor for life. Not pushing and allowing it to happen. And I knew as soon as I started practicing yoga that it was going to be the thing that I would stick with for the rest of my life. Like, it's the kind of thing, like a lot of people start different workouts and they're really excited about it in the beginning, and they're like, I love this, I'm going to do this forever, But at a certain point, it's like your body just doesn't want to do something, it needs a change. But I never feel that way about yoga, and I think it's because it's the whole package. When you bring into mind the idea of spiritual, it's really about knowing that it's about a connection to yourself, but it's also about having a connection to things that are greater than you. So if you choose to use God as the connection, and know you believe in God, then that's great. But you don't have to believe in God to know that you're part of something bigger, that there's a bigger plan here on this earth, and that you are one tiny little piece of it, and you're an important piece of it, and yet, and understanding like we're all so much the same, but we're all very different. And so it's just that to me is what spirituality is about. It's about connecting to yourself so you can connect to others in a deeper way. How it made me feel childlike, it made me feel like I was really connecting back to my true self, not the self that had put on. I like to look at it like layers of the onion, It's like, with yoga we're constantly like peeling the layers of the onion off so we can get to the core. And during the course of the time that we were doing our training, 9/11 occurred, and so it really shifted in the way I was teaching and what I was teaching with my kids' classes at the time, and I started really incorporating a lot of stuff about peace into these classes. And so when it came time to do my project, I felt like that's what I had to do my project on. I mean, we had to pick one thing. It could be a lesson plan that really touched you or something like that, and I was really, really touched by how children were so affected by 9/11, and how, as an educator, I could help get them to a place where they would feel peace within themselves. In 2004 that I opened up Home Sweet Home. And
I love the name of the
thank
place.
you.
Home Sweet Home. How cute is that?
Yeah.
It's adorable.
And it really is homey. It really has that wonderful feeling. So even though like it's not in a home anymore, it really has that wonderful warmth and just a great sense of community when you come into the door. Well, my first job out of college was as a graphic designer. And I did that for quite a while, actually, about 8 years. And I loved that. I was in the corporate design field, and I basically did logos and brochures and newsletters and annual reports and stuff like that. And I worked for one company for a while, and that was their whole focus. And then I ended up going and working freelance, and I worked for places like the MTA and a human resources consulting firm, different things like that. And it was great. And one day I got actually a phone call from somebody trying to headhunt me, and the next thing I knew, they hired me to become a headhunter in the graphic design world. So I did that for 4 years as well. It's an interesting thing because, you know, one would think that like the day you open your yoga studio is a pretty pinnacle moment, or the day your yoga studio makes it to be a year, or the day that you have been teaching yoga for 10 years, or, you know, whatever, you know, those are like pinnacle, like, milestones. But I think, you know, my pinnacle moments are, they're like scattered throughout. Like, they're not just like, you know, in a yoga class like mine, there might be like a pinnacle pose where then it gets easier from that point on. But in my yoga class, in my yoga life, I feel like it's just those moments when someone comes up to you and tells you how much it's meant to them, how much it's changed their life. You know, those are the moments where I go, that's why I do this. It's being able to give of myself and know that even though I can't be everywhere, I can have other people who can start to be, you know. And it's true. I mean, like, I would love, there's so many places I'd love to teach yoga, but knowing that if I can't teach there, somebody that I had in my training can. So that feels really good. I think happiness is really when you're living your truth. Yeah. Because then everything else just flows so much better.
And what is your greatest hope for mankind?
That we have peace on earth.
Yeah.